Hello and welcome to Racers Now. Now, we might as well chip in and talk about City of Troy. He's gone and won the Juddmonte International today. A big field, plenty of talk. Where will he go next? How good is he? Can he compare to the greats? We've done all sorts of talking about him on this channel. But firstly, SD, what did you make of him in the Juddmonte International today?
Well, he was very good, wasn't he? Very, very, very good. He broke the course record for goodness sakes. But and they built a googly with Hans Andersen. He was given a very good ride. I think that is point one. Point two is the second horse ran the last 3 furlongs quicker. I suspect that second horse is an arc horse, really. I think he will.
No, he can't, mate. He can't.
No, he can't. Sorry, that was it. He can't run in the arc,
but
I suspect he's the best horse in France. And we have made this case before. I think he's very good, and it will be interesting if they meet again, because I don't think he was given the best ride. The Guineas form was given a bit of a boost as well, because of course Ghostwriter ran really, really well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
And the margins were quite striking. You know, the distances were a length, 3.5 lengths, and another 3 3/4 back to Blue Stocking. He usually runs her race, and there were some very good horses in behind. Looking at the sectionals, and I had a look at these earlier, Docklands actually ran a pretty good race if it was over a mile.
Missed the break.
Wouldn't surprise me if he did too much in, I think, probably between 4 and 3 hours. I'd have my eye on him, dare I say it, for something like the QE2 at a massive price. He won't like that.
They're going down under, mate. They're not going there. They're going down under. They think he's a Cox Plate horse.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I think he's got Australian interest in him. But anyway, back to City of Troy. A few points I've got to make, really. I am convinced, although I've not got the stats to back it up, that Ryan Moore is riding more horses, more forward, particularly for Aidan O'Brien this year. I just think it's been a feature of the year, and particularly at the Curragh. As we know, that's a front runner's paradise anyway. But this horse, remember August Rodin, they went to Ascot and they said they've learned how to ride him, and they was going to ride him more forward, and it worked out very well in the Prince of Wales's, not so well in the King George. But yeah, he basically led throughout, because there's 2 or 3 horses missed the break. Alflayler, Docklands, City of Troy broke very well, and he led, and he just basically ignored Hans Andersen. I think that the performance might well be underestimated a little bit, because, as SD stated, the French horse was closing quickly and City of Troy led all the way. Now, in big races where horses lead all the way and they're not ridden by Ryan Moore, often they might be, called a fluke or question the form. So I think that's potentially against City of Troy. But I see that
you can't question the form when it's running course record time.
I'm not questioning the form.
What you can say.
I'm saying
the French horse,
when horses lead all the way. Yeah. So 2 things. When horses lead all the way, I think people, not me, but I think generally people question the form. And secondly, and connected to that point, is that, like you said, the French horse was finishing very quickly and closing. So that might be another reason for people, not me or you, to question the form. Or question the race. I think he's amazing. I've been proved very wrong after what he did at Epsom. I think, as I said the other day, that Ryan Moore was pretty adamant, and he doesn't make many statements. I mean, you see his interview today with Matt Chapman after the race. He virtually said nothing. He said, "Let the horse do the talking." There's no point in me talking. Yes, but he said after Sandown that he expected him to win the Eclipse by 10 lengths. He didn't. And he'll be better on fast ground. And he was today. The Racing Post have given him an RPR of 129. They gave him 125 for the Epsom Derby. It was a deep field in terms of quantity. Was it there in terms of quality? We questioned that the other day. It would just lead me on to the future with City of Troy. The plan at the start of the year was Guineas. This was stated as well by me. Guineas, Derby, Saratoga, and then the Breeders' Cup Classic. Now, I think that plan changed after what happened at the Guineas. It clearly didn't go well. So my question is, if you're going to try it for decades, not that often, but over decades, to try and win the Breeders' Cup Classic, is it a good idea to take a horse onto dirt for the first time in the Breeders' Cup Classic? Because if they would have stuck to plan A and gone to Saratoga and got this on the dirt and whether he could handle it or not, to take him to the Breeders' Cup Classic first time on dirt, it just for a team, for an operation that pride themselves on leaving no stone unturned, it doesn't quite fit with me.
Well, the answer to that question is dependent on what happens in the future. I.e., will he, well, from a commercial point of view, will he lose any sort of stud value if he gets beaten in the Breeders' Cup Classic? I wouldn't think so.
No, that's fair enough. That's a fair point. But I'm just saying, for his chances of winning,
I don't think
that
he'll be
race, forget studs, I don't really care.
I think he'll be frolicking around shagging this time next year.
No, absolutely, of course he will. And I'm not questioning the stud value. I don't really care. I'm just saying, for his chances of winning the Breeders' Cup this year, surely it would be. They could still do it, but it looks doubtful. Surely it would have been better to try dirt at least one time before getting in the gates in the Breeders' Cup
what
Classic
may
in November.
happen. Will he go to the Irish Champion? Probably. Do you reckon?
I would like to think so, but it is only 4 weeks away.
Well, look, do you remember? Was it Rock or Giants? One of them, anyway, went to Southall for an away day on the fibre stand. Now, obviously,
and he has mentioned that. He has mentioned that this year publicly. But Southall's changed surface since those days.
Here's a message to racecourses, right? I don't like necessarily them revolving races around one horse, but ARC have enough money, put a 100 grand conditions racer that's basically built for City of Troy and let the bloody public see him in this country for one last time. It isn't hard.
They want to beat him.
Well, let's just surely people, Mark Spencer, who's the clerk at Southall now, David Atwood, they should be talking to Aidan and putting a race together. Put one on, put a conditions race on. Make it so.
The most forward thinking all-weather track is in Essex, and they do have a relationship with the American.
really is not, and you know that as well as I do. The stands are in the middle of the course. You need ID for going in, and you think that's forward thinking. It isn't.
Right.
That's also on the track in the country is Wolverhampton.
So Aidan,
that wouldn't be a bad idea. Where's the Breeders' Cup this year?
Del Mar.
And is that tight?
Yes.
Well, Wolverhampton, Dave Roberts. I saw Dave the other night. The return of. Great, he's returned. The mayor of Wolverhampton, Dave. You've got the tightest all-weather track there. Bloody put a race on. You could pack the place out. It'd be great, wouldn't it? I just think it isn't. It's a bit of left field thinking, but I think it favours everyone in this situation.
Right. Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore found themselves in a situation on Wednesday at York of riding a treble. One of those was Los Angeles, who won the Voltiger, who I was head scratching a little bit. They paid 20 grand to supplement into this race, which is very unusual for the Voltiger, the Group 2. He'd won the Irish Derby last time, so carried a £5 penalty. We don't need team racing. We don't need team racing in the UK and Ireland because we've already got it. It was 3 versus 2 in the Voltiger, and they fanned out across the straight. They made comments. He's won the Irish Derby that we thought he was a Ledger horse, but Ryan has said he's more a horse. I don't buy it. He looks slow as a boat to me. He looks all over a Ledger horse, but then they've said today afterwards that he's going to go to the Arc. I think they're wrong.
Well,
the St. Ledger market's all over the place.
Well, I'll tell you why, should I?
Yep.
What I think will happen. I agree with you on all of this. I think he's just a boring boat. But
yes,
City of Troy ain't going the Arc. Unless...
No.
And this would be... I don't know if this is in the back of their mind. If you get a fast Grand Arc, maybe. But he ain't going to...
Like they did last year.
Chances are he ain't going to France. So then they've got to say, well... And they will know the answer to this question better than you or I. But who is better, Auguste Rodin or Los Angeles? I mean, neither exactly have the va-va-voom, do they? They like to win the Premier Group 1 race in Europe. Let's face it. And they think the best way to do it is not to run at Doncaster. That is a very difficult thing to do. They've tried it. They tried it with Continuous last year. I think he's a Ledger horse.
I've got a couple of
And
points.
I think he would win a Ledger, personally.
I do.
So there is the
I'm not
conundrum
sure he
for
would
them.
win one. I'm not confident.
Well, I'm not confident. I'm
A couple of points
confident
that you
on
should
the
be aware of.
fair price.
So on the odds comparison site today, they're basically in 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. Jan Brugel, Los Angeles, and Eleanor, who was second today, that Aidan has since said looks like a Ledger horse. And Aidan, in the same interview, said that Los Angeles is unlikely to run in the Ledger. So make of that of what you will. 2 points to make. This year, and most years, but not all, the St. Ledger now clashes on the same day as the Irish Champion Stakes and Irish Champions Weekend, which I think has resulted in the St. Ledger going down the pecking order at Ballydoyle HQ.
They used to bus over.
That's the
Do you remember the days where they used to helicopter over when it was an evening meeting in Ireland? That used to work.
Yeah, I think that only happened once or twice. That only happened once or twice.
The exchange tells you a different story. I mean, you know, there's also to throw into the Ledger.
Go on. Tell me the exchange price is genuine.
Well, it's what confidence there is to back the horse at a given price. So the 4.1, 4.7, 5.1.
Because I don't know what they are. I'm asking.
4.1.
Right. So there's not. So I mean, at 5.1.
No, but the next price somebody wants to back him at is 19. So, you know, I think if he was going, he would probably run in that. Just a note on Grosvenor Square as well. I think he'd be mightily interested in a Ledger. He'd certainly add some spice to the race the way he runs. I mean, bloody hell, he just goes tearing off, doesn't he? One last week.
Another point. Aidan O'Brien has ran a handful of St. Ledger winners in the Arc, so there's no reason that Los Angeles can't do both. If you go back to Camelot,
but maybe Ballydoyle's thinking, because obviously they're planned, like all of us, when you keep doing something and it doesn't come off, maybe they change the course of action.
Yeah, but if you look back, Camelot didn't win the St. Ledger, probably should have done. Ran in the Arc. Leading Light ran in the Arc the year he won the Ledger. Kew Gardens, Continuous. He's done it plenty of times. And my final point is, and you probably will disagree on this, I don't think, and we play a lot of Ballydoyle bingo, I admit this most weeks, I don't think that they massively target the Arc like they do other races. And there's plenty of races to go at. Obviously, Classics, King George, York, Irish Champion. I don't think they massively target the Arc. Generally, I think that it becomes a thought in the second half of the season. They don't set out at the start of the year in April or May and say this is an Arc horse. I don't think that's the case.
I don't think any horse does, does it? There might be the odd one in
well, they would in France. They definitely would in France, and maybe after the first couple of weeks in June, when you've got a Derby winner or a French Derby winner, then maybe I'm getting lost in the point I'm making. I think Opera Singer needs to be running over a mile and a half as soon as possible as a warm up to the Arc. They said 9 months ago that she was an Arc horse. I think she should be the one, the main one that they run in the Arc.
I mean, do you remember back to 2016 when they had the 1, 2, 3 in the Arc? You know, you had Found, Highland Reel, Order of St. George. You do have to go quite a bit back. You know, Dylan Thomas won it, beat the great Zane, who of course was second in the Arc for a couple of years. Hurricane Run won it. Obviously, Montjeu wasn't part of Aidan's operation, but was nonetheless Michael Table's horse. So yes, they don't win it prolifically, but I would be astonished to think that they didn't want. It's not they don't want to win it. I think they want to win it every year. To be honest.
Yeah, of course.
What was that? Yeah, I don't think what that bloody horse was. They had that. What Love? Do you remember Love? Good God.
Didn't run in the Arc though, did she?
No, I remember. I think we were on an anti-post at crazy price.
Yeah. 2 questions, NSD. Where does City of Troy run next?
Irish Champion. Where else? What else is there? If you work back from the breeders, they ain't gonna run. They ain't gonna run him all
first week in November.
Yeah, they're not going to run him in the champion. So you've got the Irish champion or the champion or the ARC. Now, judging by Betfair, I think he was 10.5 or something. He would be, if they thought he was going to run in the ARC, he would be less than half that price.
I agree with what you're saying. I don't think that he will race in the Irish champion. He should. That should be his next race if me and you are in charge, but I don't think he will. And the next question, where do you think Los Angeles will run next? And I'll have a different answer to you here.
Where do I think he'll run?
Yeah.
And do you know what? They might go for some pilly little race somewhere before the ARC.
I think Los Angeles will run in the Irish champion next. It'll be completely mad, completely wrong race, but that's where I think that's where I.
No. But the big eye catcher today, actually, of course, was Desert Cup, wasn't he? Who'll win the Ergo Cup? Which is much better than talking about Buddy Ballydoyle Bingo. There you go. Ergo Cup winner.
Desert Cup, was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You said that before the race, and I now agree with you after the race. Right, plenty covered there, as always, here on Races Now, looking at all the big Group 1s, just gone, coming up, maybe even as far as California. Is Del Mar in California? Where's Del Mar? Yeah.
No. Somewhere in America,
Yeah, somewhere in America. One of those 50 states in America, yeah.
Right. Dogs, children, watermelon wine, all that.
On that bombshell, see you later.
Good evening.